Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, today we answer the question that's been burning in your souls for all time. Pad or stick? So guys, Adam Ronan here. Now, a good majority of you probably fell onto the channel of R24 because of this reason. Kapah! Fight sticks! So you've watched many a video where me and Timmy TJ Combo have gone through, reviewed the gamut of them, done mod videos, all kinds of stuff. Fight sticks, the almighty king of the fighting game. The ultimate weapon as to bodying anybody that crosses your path. Or is it? There may be one that stands up to the king as he sits on his sandwall throne. And who is that, you might ask? Boom! The pad, the controller, the OG, the king of kings. Everyone that has played a video game has played on one of these. Ever since the very first console you ever owned, be it the NES, the SNES, the Sega Genesis, whatever, boom, all the way to current consoles, the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, you have a pad of some sort, complete with a D-pad, face buttons, triggers, shoulder buttons, the whole shebang. So how does this badass of badassery stand up to its basic, lighter, more convenient looking full father? We're about to take a look. So let's start with the stick. Anybody that's played in the arcade would venture to guess that there's no other way to play games, be it fighting games, side-scrollers, anything you might have played in the arcade. They bring back fantastic, wonderful memories of throwing your quarter up on the machine, quartering up to an opponent, getting up there, and laying the smack down. You know, this for me, it's like I would go into an arcade to MK2. That was my game of choice when I was younger. I'd get up there and I would just body motherfuckers to the day's end. I go to arcades now. MK2 can't be beat. You just can't fuck with it. And that's where this is like. When you go home, this is like setting an arcade cabinet in your lap and bringing the true feeling of retro play at home. And that's its biggest accomplishment. So let's start digging into the pros of this. A lot of times execution can be hella easier on a stick, because I know our boy Sasquatch prefers all his fighting games to be on a stick. Our boy Timmy TJ Combo, he plays on a stick. Charge characters, for example, can be a lot easier on a pad than stick. Doing a 720 motion like Geef's churning the butter, that can be easier on a stick. My favorite thing about the sticks is endless customization, because you can turn these into anything you want them to be. They could be the forefront of style and personalization. You look at this stick here, you see Thundercat, you see Batman, you see Mad Balls, you see Monster, My Pet Monster, you see Mario, Cobra, R24 logo, Dino Riders, the Death Star, and an X-Wing. That is me, Adam Ronan, on a stick, pink and blue buttons, green accents, pink ball. It's me. And that is only done through customization, something you cannot get on the pad. And that is by far my favorite thing of the stick. Now, of course, with those customizations and just the stick by itself comes with its first downfall, and that is indeed the price. Now, of course, sticks range anywhere from $40 for real basic things you can get all the way on up to like the Dragon from Quanba that retails at $300. Sticks are an investment in gaming. So you can build your own stick from scratch, but no matter how you slice it, you're spending all the way up to sometimes $300-400 depending on the parts you stick in there and how deep like customization you get with your buttons, your spare parts, all kinds of crazy stuff. So price is definitely a factor. Along with that notion is, of course, I mentioned the parts. So you have replacement parts. You're hammering away on the joystick, you're hammering away on your buttons. Sometimes these things are going to go out. We've all replaced buttons like crazy. And you know, that can be an expensive thing depending on what kind of lever you get, what kind of ball tops you want. If you want a bat top, you want Seimetsu buttons, you want Hayabusa buttons. Those types of things can rack up in price. The more you get and the longer you have your stick and the more you pound away on it, that'll get pricey. Not to mention the PCB boards inside of these bad boys, the things that tell it to speak to the PC or console. Those alone can be very expensive, and if you want to get the top of the line ones, you want to upgrade the one you already have, money's involved. Okay, so those are some slight downfalls, but this is an excellent piece of hardware. When you walk into a tournament with this dangling from your side, or you pull it out of a bag and slap it on your lap, you feel like you're right at home in the arcade and you're ready to slice some shit. But how does it stack up to the pad? Like I mentioned before, the pad was most people's intro to video games. This is kind of where it all started for a lot of people. And that's the best thing about it, is its familiarity to you, the player. You've already knows what this feels like. It's been in your hands your whole life, for as long as you started playing video games, and immediately you pick it up and you feel right at home and you can play. Like when we were mentioning with price, where the fight sticks are very pricey and upgradable parts and things like that. Controllers are very cost effective. You break one, $60 to replace it. Traveling between pads and sticks is very easy. So of course they make wonderful bags for sticks to be held in. We reviewed one with the Quamba Aegis, the Quamba Guardian. Wonderful bags to carry your stick in, but obviously pads are smaller, fit in smaller bags, less obtrusive, less heavy when you're standing around in tournaments all day long, because they don't have a lot of good seating and you're just like, oh shit, I just want to sit down. Well, the pad's going to give you less weight, and it's great for competitive play because you're traveling and it just doesn't leave, you know, a lot of strain on your back. Of course, they do, however, come with something for us artistic folk that you can't get with the pad that you get with the stick, and that's customization. Now, of course, you could go through like places like Controller Freaks and get all kinds of cool modded controllers to look the way you want, but if you at home, the average consumer, want to mod your pad, the difficulty level and just the ease of getting parts and stuff is a lot less accessible than if you had a stick. So that's a mark against a pad for customization. If you're really artistic and when you pull this out for a tournament and you want to look as cool as you can, well, it's not going to be as easy if you had a stick. So, which one is truly better? Well, of course, each one has pros and cons, but at the end of the day, it truly comes down to preference, and that's the big thing we want to talk about in this video. Do you prefer the pad? Yes, great, play on it. Do you prefer the stick? Awesome, play at it. The stick does have a learning curve. If you're coming right from a pad, jumping into the stick, then it's not going to be immediately pick up and play and you're going to be as good as you were. Because if you're great on a pad, you jump over to stick, it's going to take you a bit of time to get back to where you were on here. There is no competitive advantage to being on a stick over a pad or a pad over a stick. If you look at guys like Justin Wong and all the big name fighters who play on a stick, well, of course, a lot of those guys have lost to like guys like Punk to God who plays on a pad. So it doesn't matter what you're playing on as long as you are getting the most out of the game and having fun. That's what's important. We just kind of wanted to open the floor here, go over the pros and cons of using a stick. If you're brand new to fighting games, you know, let's chat about it. That is today's Fight Game Friday video. Pad versus stick, the pros and cons of each. Which one do you play on? I personally collect sticks more because it reminds me of nostalgia, but I personally actually play more on a pad, and I'm better on a pad. But I love sticks. I have a great many of them, as you know, but I'm not as skilled on them. I don't have the patience. I also like hitboxes quite a bit, so we can talk about that another time. But what do you guys play? Pad? Stick? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Hit me up on Twitter. Boom! Hit up our official account on Twitter. Boom! And let us know in the comments below. We have a good time here. Also, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Because every Friday we're going to give you fight game stuff. And then the rest of the week is other cool, geeky, gaming-related stuff. Consider subscribing. And if you like our videos that much, consider checking us out on Patreon, where all of that funding goes to making these videos better, and you can get it into a little cool metagame called Ronin 24/7. Gordy, play me out.
Wait, no. I almost started Mortal Kombat again. Okay,
That was still Mortal Kombat.
I know.
Okay.